Mel, let me ask you this right off the top. They're taking away your post-game hugs. How do you feel about that?
I don't know, man. We got to figure it out. We got to adapt. That's all we got. That's all we can do is adapt. The love is still there.
So what are you going to wave at people now? What are you going to do? Blow them a kiss or what?
No, I'm not blowing no kisses, but that's all we can do is just wave. You know, you do air fives.
Yeah, okay.
Next question's coming from Nick Krupke with KPTV.
Sorry, Mel,
Nick,
feeding a baby there too. First time you guys have had to deal with this, obviously inevitable seemingly around the league. So how do you go about using this 5 days away from games to get right health-wise, mentally-wise for yourself, and maybe, you know, learn a new way to play too with Nurk and CJ now down for a bit?
Well, I mean, we got to take advantage of these next couple of days. You know, obviously it's unfortunate in what we're dealing with, but you know, as we all know, the health is what's most important at this point, and guys getting better, guys feeling better. You know, controlling it, tracing it, tracking it, whatever they have to do to get a hold of it. If that means, you know, postponing games, then that's what's most important at this point. So we adapt to it. But as far as these next couple of days, you know, you just have to tighten up some stuff. We come in here, get some good practice in. You know, guys get a chance to have some days off and get healthy and get their bodies right, get their mind right. It's unfortunate that we're not going to be playing, but I think you look at it on the brighter side. The schedule wasn't in our favor as far as games and rest and recovery and things like that. So, you know, I think these 5 days came at a crucial time.
Next question's coming from AJ McCord with Coin 6.
What about this time specifically made it crucial to have these extra days off?
Well, we've been playing every other day. You know, we play, practice, play. I mean, that was going to be our schedule for the rest of this month. So, you know, for us to have, you know, some time off for a couple of days, 4 or 5 days, where, you know, we can get our mind, our body right. You know, tighten up some things that we need to tighten up as a team. You know, you try to build some more chemistry with, you know, with new lineups and different lineups and different guys being in there. Give coach an opportunity to, you know, to make some adjustments and some things that he want to see. So that's what these days are for. So we got to utilize these days to the best of our ability.
Next question's coming from Kyle Goon with Southern California News Group.
Hey, Melo. We're obviously entering a week where a lot of guys are going to be remembering Kobe. I was sort of wondering, before you got to be a contemporary of his and play with him on Olympic teams, when you were a teenager, were there moves of his, or was there a skill of his that you tried to copy or emulate? And as a follow-up, why do you think that he's still a player that young guys go for that kind of inspiration and seek to kind of do the things that he did on the court?
I think the most important thing about Kobe for me was his approach, his mentality. His game spoke for itself. It speaks for itself. I just think the way he approached the game, the type of mentality that he had, you know, he called it the Mamba mentality. That's something that's going to be here for a long, long time. I don't think that mentality is never going anywhere. It's a mindset, and I think that's what I took from him: how to change your mindset, how to approach it, how to, you know, become self-motivated. You know, how things make you tick, what make you tick. You know, for me, it's all about the approach of the game and figuring out what works for you and what doesn't.
Next question's coming from Casey Holdall with Trailblazers.com.
Carmelo, you entered the season talking about how, you know, you were kind of having to adjust roles from starting to come off the bench. And now with both CJ out and Nurkic out, it seems like, you know, some of that falls upon you now, both in terms of being a big and also providing the scoring that CJ provided. How comfortable are you feeling kind of all those roles at this point? Because it seems like it's, you know, the team is really asking a lot of you at this point. I
mean, I'm 18 years in, so I'm sure that, you know, my role is my role at the end of the day. And whatever that details, whatever that entails, it is what it is. It's basketball to me. It's just making adjustments, throughout the course of the game, or, approaching whatever game that we're approaching at that point in time, and figuring out how to get through that and how to make it work. Again, it's not complicated. It's not difficult for me. I've been around the game. I've seen things like this happen with injuries and, guys coming in out of lineups and guys not playing and guys playing. And this is all part of it. This is all part of the long year. This is all part of that journey. But for me as an individual, it's basketball. I'll make the proper adjustments and adapt in the way that I need to.
Thanks, Melo.
Next question is coming from Jason Quick with The Athletic.
Hey, Melo, I think there's a lot of curiosity within the fan base regarding Anthony Simmons. And obviously he should get probably more of a chance now that CJ's hurt. But can you maybe provide some insight on what you see from him in practice?
Did you finish? You finished your question? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I think Ant is good. I can tell you that from, internally. We see him every single day. We see what he's trying to do. We see him taking it all in as far as the education of the game, the knowledge of the game, learning, asking questions, to the right people, asking the right questions, and just his game and the way that he's grown over the past couple of years. I mean, it's, that's not my decision to make as far as when he plays, when he doesn't, or play more. I can't make that decision. We know as his teammates what he's capable of, and we expect that from him. As a young player like himself, I mean, he's been in the league a couple years, but it's still all fairly new to him, right? This is a whole new experience, different game. It's hard playing behind somebody like Dame and somebody like CJ, but that will also make it easier, for me as an individual to learn from somebody like Dame and CJ and to see what they like to do, what they don't like to do, how they approach the game, different situations throughout the game. That's all a learning curve and a learning process for somebody like Ant, or just a young player that's in this game and waiting his turn. I think he's doing a great job of just being patient and waiting his turn. So whatever coach decides, that's on him. Only thing I can do and we can do is continue to support him, be there for him, help him do it, and keep a smile on his face.
And is there anything in particular that stands out when you say, yeah, he's good? What is it that kind of grabs your eye?
You want color commentary, huh?
Huh?
You want color commentary, huh?
Exactly.
No, I think his skill set, right? I don't think a lot of you guys see his skill set the way that we see it on a day-to-day basis.
Right.
The way that he attacks, the way that he can shoot the hell out the ball, the way that his flow within the game. Those things it comes natural to him. These are things that come natural to him. So by him working on those aspects of his game, but also the IQ of the game and getting better from that standpoint, I think that's the most important part for him. Learning the game a lot more, learning from guys like CJ and Dan, even myself, just helping him do, and just going through this experience. And his time will come. I believe that.
Next question is coming from Orlando Sanchez with KGW.
Hey, Melo, pretty crazy week and a half, 2 weeks for the team. Curious what the vibe is like since we can't be there, how things are going with the team, and how vital is leadership at a time like this, man?
We miss y'all here, man. Just let you know that Now, the vibe is the vibe. Like that's what it's some things that we can't control, right? And this is one of them. We can't control, what's happening with the COVID situation and testing, and we can't control that. So we just got to try to, prepare and protect ourselves as best as possible. But when we come into this gym, it's work and it's fun. We try to make it fun. We try to make it enjoyable. Guys laughing and smiling. We get after it, but at the end of the day, we don't need to be uptight in our workplace. We want to come here, get our work done, go over the things we need to go over, attack the things that we need to attack from a strategy standpoint. But then it's fun. This should be fun, right? Coming into work, coming here, playing basketball, being around guys that you want to be around. That's all part of the enjoyment of the game.
Was there any silver lining having a couple of games postponed? I know you guys want to be playing all the time, but are there any positives out of having games postponed right now?
Well, we get some time. We get a couple of days off, and this is the time where we probably wouldn't have as many practices. We probably wouldn't be able to be in the gym and having that time. We would have to adjust and adapt and learn on the fly. So I think that's what we can take from just kind of having these games. Of course, we want to play. We definitely want to play, but it got to be right for us to go out there and play. That's the most important thing at this time.
Coming back to Dwight James at NBC Sports Northwest.
Mel, catch us up a little bit. You talk about days off. Did you guys get a day off yesterday, I assume? And then was it more like a regular practice, like you're used to, rather than one of those practices on a day in between games?
It was definitely a practice where you had to lock in. You had to bring your mental just as much as your physical today. There's a lot of things that was discussed and talked about, and we went over a lot of things. This wasn't a practice that if we played yesterday, we have a practice today and play tomorrow. Practice would probably be totally different. This was a practice we got a chance to actually get after it a little bit. Bang in there and scream and yell and laugh and joke but honestly get after it and have a good time doing it and getting better. So it was definitely a good practice for us today that we can build on for tomorrow and Saturday to get ready for Sunday, hopefully.
Coaches turn it up a little bit.
They always do. Anytime you give coaches a couple days, they turn it up.
Next question is coming from Daniel Emmerman with the Daily Orange.
Hey, Mello. So in honor of Jim Boeheim's 45th season at Syracuse, I'm trying to ask a bunch of Syracuse guys about how they met him at first.
45th season?
That's right, yeah. Hard to believe, right?
No, it's not hard to believe. Not for him.
So what do you remember about first meeting Jim 20 or so years ago? What were your first impressions of him?
I remember he fell asleep at coming to recruit me. I remember that, watching the game. He fell asleep. I looked over and I see him nodding off in the chair. My first time meeting him though was just it was a connection. It was an energy that we had. It was something. It was guys that we knew. We had mutual guys that we knew that I grew up with, grew up watching, grew up looking up to. That he coached, prior to that, and just his connection he had with Baltimore City as a whole, and just how comfortable he was being in that environment and being around them, coming to Baltimore and coming to my games and watching me play. I'm sure it was like pulling teeth getting him to come to a basketball game to recruit, but he did it. I respected it, and at that, for me, it was, Syracuse was the Big East, so that was the heart of the Big East. And I can say that I was one of the last of the Mohicans when it came to, that Big East. So couldn't have been a better person to do that with.
Awesome. Thank you, man.
Yep.
Now we're going to Michael Bodmore with ESPN.
All right, sorry. Mello, I work with Rachel Nichols on The Jump, and we're working on a Kobe piece, and I was just wondering if you could tell me about the first time that you played against Kobe. I believe it was December 19, 2003. Like what it was like, what you remember about it, if you had any back and forth or just any memories about that day.
No, I just remember, like, damn, like, I'm on a court with Kobe, like, okay, let's get after it. Like that was I was just young, and that was my mentality, and I knew, kind of just watching him and hearing stories about him, coming to the league, that I guess I wanted to gain his respect so much at that moment. He was one of the guys that I really wanted to gain their respect and their trust. So I just went out there and I just played like it was, once we got him in between those lines, it was me versus him. It was Lakers versus Denver. It was, that was my mentality. And it took us a couple times to play against each other, for us to really almost fighting and pushing and shoving and, getting texts and, and just competing. That was called competing back then. So it took us to go through that. And I think he was just testing me. Like he was just testing to see what I was made of. He was testing to see what type of mentality I had. And he was just testing me to see, who I was as a person and what I stood for. I didn't understand it at that point in time until I started playing against him more and more and more and understanding how he operates. And once I understood that, we became very close. And then 2008 came. Even prior to that, 06 and 07, we was talking and we playing the games, and the 08 team was something that we really, I think, solidified and validated our relationship.
Was there anything from that first game? Like, did he say anything to you? Like Paul George told us a story when he hit a bucket over Paul George and said, "Don't reach, young fella." Like, did anything like that happen? Any back and forth?
No, because I wasn't back then. You didn't. The game was different back then, so you kind of guarded your position back then. So if you was a shooting guard, you guarded the shooting guard. You're small forward, you guarded small forward. So it was very. I mean, as you guys may know, that's what the game was back then. So I didn't really have too many matchups personally, one-on-one with him. I just remember him talking. He always talked trash. He used to always say, "Don't wake me up." Like, it was things like that. "Don't wake me up tonight." If he missed a couple shots, and "Don't wake me up." That's what he used to tell me. "Don't wake me up." So I think that just that mentality and those dialogues and those conversations that we had back then. I got up for him. I took the challenge. He took the challenge, and that really created a different type of bond between the both of us.
Thank you.
All right, thanks, Melo. We're gonna wrap it there.
Thank you, guys. We'll be glad to see you guys back in the facilities here soon.
Into sarcasm.